One really great thing you can do on your homepage is add dynamic content. As items change anywhere on your site, they can be automatically reflected on your homepage. As we scroll down the Gyms and Trainers homepage, we see this panel of the top 4 trainers. I've set this up so that the trainer with the most stars shows up first, which we can see. Martha and Antonio are rated 5 out of 5. Next is Calvin with a 4.9 and then Mia with a 4.8. If a new trainer received a 4.9, then Mia would automatically be bumped off this list and be replaced. Also, if any of these trainers' ratings started to fall, they might also be replaced by an up-and-coming trainer with higher ratings. The best part is, once you've set this up, you never have to do any further work for all of this to happen. And this kind of logic can be applied to anything. In this cooking site, recipes are brought up in a similar fashion. Let's examine how the trainers section was built. And instead of creating it from scratch, we'll reverse engineer the site that exists. This will also train you on where to look for things. Okay, jumping into the admin panel and opening up the home page, we can scroll down to the trainers section. Clicking on it, let's bring up our navigator to see the structure. So there's an overall container for the entire section. This is to set the width, and if we wanted, any kind of background or padding. Then the heading that says Top Trainers. A second heading, Find the personal trainer for you. And now we get to the interesting part. The view here is what will pull in the dynamic content. Let's select this view and examine it. Under Content Selection, we see that it's pulling in the personal trainer's post type. So it's not trying to bring in regular posts, or gyms, or anything else. It's only loading in personal trainers. Next, under the ordering settings, it's sorting these personal trainers by a custom field called Trainer Rating, in descending order. To understand this better, let's look at the personal trainers. Going to the list of them, we see their names, dates published, and right there is the trainer rating. If I click it, I can sort, and we see the same order that was coming up on the front of the site, with Martha first and then Antonio and Calvin and then Mia. Let's click into Martha's post and see more about it. These trainer posts have the typical WordPress title and body, and then there are special fields made using Toolset for a trainer photo. Next, we see our trainer rating field, and right there is Martha's 5-star rating. Okay, going back to our homepage view. Again, we see that we're sorting by that trainer rating field. Next, under Limit and Offset, Items to Display is set to 4, which makes sense because we want to show 4 trainers here. Let's jump back to our navigator and choose our View Loop. On the right-hand side, under Loop Style, we see that we're displaying these trainers as a grid. Under Grid Settings, we see that it's a 4-column grid. The gaps between these columns are left at their default settings. I'm skipping over all the other tabs here because nothing special really is set in any of them. Everything we looked at so far tells us the whole story. All the magic happens by the view calling up the trainer posts, by the ratings, and then putting them into a grid. Everything beyond this point is just style and design. For example, we choose if we want to show pictures, titles, or any other information. Let's continue on and show you the design part, since there's a few interesting items to show you here. On the navigator, we see there's another container. This is to give a background white color to the box. There's also 10 pixels padding on the left and right. And the border is really interesting. Each side has its own setting. How we got this was by using this button here. Normally it's locked, and it's one setting for the entire border. But if we unlock it, we have more control. In this case, all the sides have a 0 thickness, except the bottom is 4 pixels thick and green, as we see in the design. Okay, the next several elements in our container are very straightforward if you've worked with views before. I highly recommend that you go back and watch the lessons on views if you're having trouble here. We have an image of each trainer. The heading is calling in our titles. Next is the star rating, which is sourced from the same trainer rating field that we've been looking at, but it converts it into stars for you. And then there's this single field, which is calling in our same trainer rating field, but this time now as text. By the way, if we look under Field Settings, we see the output mode is customized. Let me show you what it looks like if we just show the raw data. See? It only shows the raw number, which is fine, but we can customize this text. Now we're showing the field value and a slash and then the number 5. This can be really useful. Maybe you want to show how many years something is, or how many meters long something is. Whatever it is, you can add your own text here. Finally, we have a button, and that's it. Using these techniques, you can show any information you want on any page, in this case, our home page. And you can order it by date, or by ratings, or any field you wish to create. Perhaps you want to show lumber by its size, or cars in order of their speed. Anything you can think of, you can now create.